Good evening, and hello from Berlin and all around the world, the final presentation of the Patchathon. I'm Peter Kern. I'm a musician, electronic musician, but this week I've been co-host of a really unique event with all these fine folks who are joining us tonight, a chance to dive into new performance creations, new musical inventions inside virtual reality. So this group of artists from all around the world have been deep inside their headsets through the week, so donning their Oculus Quest and so on, and trying to create new stuff with an environment that many of them were seeing for the first time. So the projects that we see tonight are all things that people have created in the last few days on their own or collaboratively. They've been connecting with the developers from the team at PatchXR. So the folks who built the software have been helping them through it, even building last minute changes into the software to enable them to do new stuff. And they've created a whole bunch of musical worlds for us to take a look at. Rather than just talk about that, I'd love to go ahead and see these, starting with who, wait, got to get my words right. Where, not who, where, what, whoa. Where, when, how, a project from Mokius and Ted Palace. Ted, I think, is not joining us live, but Louise is here, yeah?
I am.
Hello?
Yes, can you hear me?
We can, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so greetings. And tell us a little bit about what we're about to see, if you want, without spoilers, yeah.
Yeah, it's it took me a few days to figure out what I wanted to do, and after spending much time in the metaverse, in the headset, I came up with a desire to create a specific song for it. So I wrote a song during the week, and the song and the visuals were created kind of at the same time. I'd say that the visuals influenced the song more than the other way around. And my goal was to explore, I don't think it will be so clear in the videos, but it was to explore things at huge scale. When you're in the headset, one thing that I found absolutely extraordinary was the ability to visualize 3D models on a scale that is almost planetary. You can see things and they look like they make 1,000 times your size, and it's very weird and very intimidating. And one thing I love to do is explore fluid mechanics and weird semi-organic textures and stuff like that. So I thought, I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna explode this into a huge scale with completely absurd proportions. And then I'm gonna write a song that is very intimate and slow and very like you're inside your own body and you're just trying to find your way around, something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's go ahead and dive into that world, because I want everybody to see and hear it. I think it's immersive and beautiful even without the VR headset. I think it will translate even in the stream. So let's watch. evocative work. We have another one. VR and AI are two-letter acronyms that, of course, you hear a lot as buzzwords in tech. But what's exciting for me about these kind of projects is the chance to see people take those media in unexpected and surprising directions. So Corey, if you're with us now, this piece comes from Corey. Little Island.
Hi there.
Little Island, and you've been working with StyleGAN, and but you've created something kind of beautiful and ambient. Do you want to tell people what some of the source material was or inspiration?
Sure, yeah. So I kind of work in a collage way. That just seems to be what I gravitate to. And I used a service called Runway ML. It's like a website where you can make AI videos. And just been doing kind of AI video scrapbooking, sort of just a way of kind of seeing what happens when I feed a bunch of images to a model from my everyday life and then see what it spits out. So a lot of it's just coming from like videos of train rides or me practicing or, you know, me at the beach, stuff like that. And felt like they kind of had a home in this virtual space. And so I incorporated some samples. I was making samples and stuff like that and field recordings. Yeah, that's kind of where it came from.
Especially gathering all of you from around the world, it was really, really touching in a way to see all of these personal experiences and places feed into the virtual environment. So some real and local mixed in with the metaverse. Let's take a look. Yeah, thanks so much for that. So I should say some of what you're seeing in these tools is all the possibility of this new environment. It's unreleased. There's a beta coming soon, Patch, which is running inside the VR headset. So things like even those textures that you were seeing and video loops and things that we're playing. All of these are possible because the environment is entirely modular. And so people are constructing the worlds that you see out of tiny, tiny building blocks. And so we figured that part of what that would require is bringing in people, a mix of creative, artistic talent and engineering talent. Our next artist, Damian, is both a composer and an engineer. So like a lot of the people participating here really walks both sides of that, both sides of that coin, but you can't walk both sides of that coin. But I'm going to ask Damian actually to tell us a little bit about the name of your piece is The Conductor's Philosophy. What's the conductor and what's the philosophy?
Yeah, this is kind of very mysterious term. Like I only found like in a source, I only found like one source about it, like in a very old German lexicon of electronic instrument. And there it was referred like to Max Matthews, like one of the pioneers of sound synthesis and electronic music. And it says something like that the ideal relationship between musical instruments, like or electronic musical instruments, and the player are not the one of, you know, like a player and his instrument, but more of a conductor and his orchestra. And I found this very interesting, and therefore it was like a source of my artistic research like for many years now. And so with this piece I created some kind of quartet of, you know, like very low level generative sound synthesis agents, robots, which are like made only of mathematical functions. And yeah, so I interact with them in a kind of, you know, conductor way, like using my both hands and controllers. And it really reminded me of this kind of interaction there.
Yeah, absolutely. So mathematics, composition, algorithms, they were all chatting about all this stuff on Discord through the week. So let's take a look and hear what it sounds like. for those of you watching at home, each time you see little pieces moving around, little cogs moving around, if you kind of see this wand moving stuff around and the motion of the camera, these are all head turns. These are all performances people are making with their hands. So everything is live, everything is improvised. In the interest of full disclosure, we pre-recorded stuff so that this wasn't a nightmare to produce, but what you're seeing is absolutely a live performance and something that people could use on stage. So from that virtual world, let's go back to a world that's populated a bit more with stuff from our local experience. Washington Square, New York, but Washington Square before the pandemic, right? Vincent is our next artist. Can you tell us about this, Vincent?
That's correct. Can you hear me?
I can.
Great. Sorry, I muted the speaker in my room, so operating with no audio. But yes, so I'm a writer and digital media enthusiast. Oh, excuse moi, put on the camera. Hi, I'm a writer and digital media enthusiast. I teach a little bit too, and basically I'm sort of thinking about this idea of expansive publications. I certainly love books, but there's such a spectrum that digital media offers. And I've just been collecting all sorts of different types of digital media and throwing myself into 3D technologies, 360 video, field recordings, ambisonic recordings. And so the beauty of Patch to me is that it could give form to some of these concepts and some of the array of media that I've been collecting. And so I've had this like sort of a creative documentary process in which I've been refining over the years, where I end up going to parks in various cities around the world and just sort of sitting down, having a little bit of wine or champagne, and just actually observing and writing about what happens around me. And I base this off a methodology called event mapping by Hannah Henchman, and so which comes from the STEM field. And anyway, so I had some 360 video recordings, I had a poem, and I had some field recordings, and I incorporated them all together in this piece. And apparently, bear with me, the last thing I'll say is that my GPU is a couple years old, so there are a little bit of snags. So maybe I can justify getting a new laptop after this. So, but wonderful experience, and it's really kind of cool to give form to all this disparate ideas and pieces of media.
Yeah, it's another beautiful piece, and we appreciate that punk computer aesthetic. So let's take a look.
And the refuse sculpture immediately in front of me.
A mother advised her child to discard her trash
Memorial
to make the pupils see more and more near the conversation.
Pink feather crown stomped in front of the person. A man, or maybe a lightning flashes by, moving still the lights.
I'm wondering how much this piece was meant for me, my hesitation, my disbelief. How many people like me depend on the woodwind in the distance? Man, introduction. Rile the crowd.
And the refuse sculpture immediately in front of me.
He hears you and agrees.
maybe a bolt of lightning flashes by, holding a sickle of ice.
Wondering how much peace is under my hesitation, my disbelief.
So a mixture of fancy and realism from New York. Next up, we have a big collaboration, two new members. That is Laura and Nesso, and two returning members, Molly and Ivan. Would like, actually, let's, all of you who are here, you can even talk all at once. Tell us what you were working on, because I understand you were mixing live coding and VR and lots of stuff going on. What was happening in this one?
Hi, can you hear me? Yes.
Yeah.
Hi, thank you, Peter. Thank you very much. I'm Mali Cortez, musician and live coder. I'm part of the Italo Latino team. I'm very grateful to be part of the second Patchathon. I made a patch last year and started an investigation between connecting the world of performance with live coding and its possibilities of hybridizing with the body from virtual reality. And this time I returned to the Patchathon with my husband and collaborator, Ivan. Ivan, please.
Okay, thank you. Let me déjame poner el micro. Okay.
No, please talk here. Apágalo, vente para acá.
It's electronic musicians. We're always doing feedback loops and delays, even we're supposed to be talking.
Yes.
Okay.
Or just
Okay. Thank you very much. We explore the agility of light coding to produce audiovisual and musical ideas with the expressiveness and precision of the body and of the immersive experience. And we connect textual pattern of musical composition to control both audio and visual within Patch XR. We use Tidal Cycle and Patch XR, and was an incredible experience because it was the best of both worlds. No? And thanks very much. I pass the word to Laura, who is the performer who created the environment and landscape, and finally Nesso, who produced the percussion for the experience.
Hi, thank you so much. Yeah, I was really excited to be able to collaborate with the great artists, and it was great to use this tool to be able to create a visual environment, almost like a sculpture, a VR sculpture, kinetic, that will be able to react live to the music. So I was really focused on creating some kind of environment that will be always moving around the performance, the VR performances. And the final result was really amazing to see come together with Nesso and Mali's performance and the title messages coming in. So it was really exciting to see this visual world come to life. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much, you all. So an all-star team, all stops pulled, live coding with tidal cycles, plus Patch creating the virtual reality portion of this. Let's enter the parallel metaverse. So that was actually the live code that you were seeing as you saw the code in the corner of the screen, this multi-layered performance. So thanks so much for that. Next up is Tilberg with a piece called Sound Clouds. I don't know if you're online with us, but can tell us a little bit about this.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Welcome.
Yes, thank you. It was for me super interesting to try VR for the first time, and I was also a bit intrigued in which way I could really find a kind of boundary between virtual reality and our own reality. And in this work, I was mainly trying to do something with sound spatialization, and then I got interested in the movement of sound, and this is why I was also quite fascinated by all the mechanic stuff you can do in PatchXR. So it's super nice the way you can really use the and in this way you can just use the speakers as doing sound spatialization. So my goal was really to try to achieve this sound spatialization in a real way to do it as we do in real life, but we cannot do this in real life. So it was really a very nice experience to be able to try this out with the software.
Yeah, another evocative and imaginative work. I really enjoyed it. So, and thanks for joining us from Inside Film Noir. Let's go from there into Sound Clouds. And I should also note, if I'm remembering this right, this one starts quiet. So those of you watching at home, there's not something wrong with your sound. There may be a moment as we fly into the spatialization and then begin to hear something. Let's take it away. Thanks. And welcome back. Thanks so much for that. So next, my recollection of how this piece began, it's a collaboration between Alexandria and Matthias. Matthias, I see out there with us. Hello. And I think that it began with a Discord chat that was Alexandria saying, hey, does somebody want to come do something in my sci-fi forest? Is that roughly right?
That is right. Hello, everyone. Yeah, during the week, I wanted to explore the sound machines, the physically modeled instruments that are incorporating Patch XR, and I wanted to make like an ambient, relaxing piece that could play on its own. And then I chatted with Alexandria, and we thought that the sci-fi forest would be a good fit for this kind of environment where we explored putting the plants, the digital assets that she made together with this tree-like two instruments that I made, while also giving enough space to explore with a couple sampling layers to play around. So yeah, it's a digital garden where you can go and relax on your own.
Yeah, we got a lot of nice relaxing spaces or spaces to recover in. So that was an unexpected, but I thought really lovely outcome of this process. So yeah, let's go there. Let's enter the sci-fi forest, into the woods. Yeah, thanks so much for that. So next we turn to the only two people that I was fortunate enough to actually see here in person as part of our hybrid program in Berlin, originally from Russia, but here in Germany with us are Irana and Waria together, I see. Hi, we should probably, I guess, not say too much about this piece because I think the poetic aspect was really built into the performance, but what do you want to say about it?
Yeah. So yeah, this performance we met during this week with Patchathon is an interpretation of a poem by the famous Russian poet Alexander Blok. And we focused us on the creation of a special, hopeless atmosphere of the poem with no escape. And in general, this work is imbued with a sense of death, but not only physical, so also spiritual. And rebirth after death changed nothing in this poem. So the line between the worlds is blurred. After all, the whole world in this poem is a loop.
Yes, and the scene is self-directed with the auditory accompaniment in the background, and each part of the poem triggered certain spatial feedback. Yeah, and for both of us, it was very cool to work with Patchathon, and it's very huge and super cool tool. And I think all our ideas and yeah, for all of us, it's a tool where you can create everything what you have in your mind. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so let's watch.
Ночь. Улица. Фонарь. Аптека. Бессмысленный и тусклый свет. Живи еще хоть четверть века. Все будет так. Исхода нет. Умрешь? Начнешь опять сначала. Аптека. Улица. Фонарь. Ночь. Улица. Фонарь. Аптека. Бессмысленный и тусклый свет. Живи еще хоть четверть века. Все будет так. Исхода нет. Умрешь? Начнешь опять сначала. Аптека. Улица. Фонарь.
Well, thanks so much for that. Yeah, and with this talk of death, of course, we're really glad that Neslov got her vaccine and somehow managed to continue working through the vaccination and get that stuff done. Everybody in this group has worked tirelessly around the clock, troubleshooting, building stuff, improvising. Next, we turn to a different part of the world. So I come from classical music. So does this next artist, originally Robbie, but she has since moved into media art and technology. And tell us about what does geometricity mean? And am I saying it right?
I think that's an excellent pronunciation. What I worked on, I explored a lot of different things with the tool, and I was very intrigued with the pencil drawing and the reaction of that to sound. So I ended up working with the excellent sequencer in the program and hooking up notes to draw shapes with the pencils and also change color. It goes back and forth. There's color changing sliders that affect volume and note length. And then the notes themselves, if you have just one note, you just have a straight line. And as there are more notes playing in this loop, you get more complicated shapes. So I think that tells you a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is one of the few pieces where you're kind of up against some panels that have labels on them. So for folks watching at home, it's easy to kind of understand, okay, now I'm seeing a step sequencer. Here's where the sounds are coming from. You'll see what I mean. Let's take a look. Thanks so much for that, Robbie. I'm here jamming along to that step sequence still. But we're going to move next to Juan Ted. Juan plus Ted, it's like Brangelina. Juan, I think, is with us here. Can you tell us about this? You were doing some playing around with polyrhythms, playing around with chaos. Tell us what this piece was about.
Yeah, at the beginning I started doing some sort of an instrument that I always dreamed about, like this huge monolith cube thing full of drum pads, but it just went a little bit overwhelming, and it just started to crash the computer. So I don't know, I got into a spiral of what to do, and I saw what Ted was doing. Unfortunately, he's not here, but he was doing this crazy cool patch with reacting to music and stuff. So I asked him if he wanted to collaborate, and I took a look at what he had. Super confusing stuff at the beginning, but yeah, it consisted on this like very primitive step sequencer of samples. So what I decided to do, just to be able to, perform something, I trimmed some very specific samples in very specific lengths. So they just created this naturally polyrhythmic kind of thing, with different textures and playing with reverbs and stuff. So yeah, I don't know, just trying to have fun and and explore the world of Patch, which was pretty amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
most of the credit goes to Ted, honestly, because he built this incredible room, and yeah, it was very inspiring at the beginning.
Yeah, Ted, who isn't here, his background is also doing some of this kind of world building. So it's great to see these kind of collaborations between those workflows and ideas and some of these musical ones. And I hope that Juan Ted remains a band. Let's hear and see what they've come up with. And thanks so much. Such a beautiful and evocative world. I would love to hang out there longer, but we have one more world to enter first. And we go lastly to another duo. This one's coming from Argentina, Paula OS and Ramiro. And I think Paula is here with us. Yes, hi.
Hello, everyone. How are you? Well,
Good.
We did this deep tones world. We thought the voice as a main element in this scene, and we created some instruments that could loop samples and sequence samples. So you can create like layers and textures to be able to sing and create melodies and ideas, musical ideas with it. So that's it.
Yeah, thank you so much. I can think of kind of no better place to wind up musically than here as a culmination of all these beautiful and varied worlds that we've been into. So let's finish out now with the deep tones. Well, thank you. Deep Tones, I'm not sure is their artist name, but we can pretend that it is. That's it for me and the Patchathon participants. We can give them all a big virtual round of applause, hybrid round of applause, whatever that is. I'm glad that I don't have to rank these works or didn't have to judge these works because, looking through them, sometimes I'm a curator, sometimes I'm a journalist. I see tremendous potential in each and every one of these projects and all of our artists. But for that means it's time to turn to our expert panel to give us some other context and feedback. And I'm going to turn it over to Mookie, who's our panel, our jury president.
Thank you, Peter. Hello, everyone around the world, and congratulations to all the participants that took part in the Patchathon. Every single one of the pieces of work we watched that just now and today and all week long, which is you guys have worked so hard, and we really know the limitations that you're dealt with working remotely and things that are, happening with your PC at the time or working not even with a computer a lot of the time. So, but yes, my name is Mookie Cohen. I'm a cross-platform executive XR producer and a creative technologist. I've known the Patch guys for about 4 years now or so, and it's my second year proudly being the president of the jury of the Patchathon. So it's been really fantastic to watch this software grow and develop, and the visuals get more sophisticated, the audio become so much more crispier, and the opportunities that happen within this three-dimensional spatial design and the communities built around it has just been fantastic to watch this grow. So just wanted to give a special thanks to my fellow jury members. We've got Marie Lau from the music creator of Mutek, Joshua Hodge, who's the founder of The Audio Programmer, Fabian Soafi, who's the founder of Fabula, Yana Kaufman, who's the head of Hertz Lab, Michael Connor, who's the art director at Rhizome, and Karine Fanis, who is our pal, our friend out at Abbey Road Studios, heading up the Abbey Road Red elements out at Abbey Road. So again, this group, this week, all the participants you've seen, ladies and gentlemen, have really represented an amazing cross-sector, multidisciplinary, multidisciplinary skills. So, we had artists, we had composers, we had vocalists, we had engineers, people coming from, not just, the music background and different types of storytelling, big video games and programmers and much more. So it's so fantastic to see Patch become this merging of cultures, media and creatives, but most of all, we're one big community that loves to be curious and we love to create. So a great hybrid of music and tech innovation. So we're very proud of you. So without further ado, I am going to announce some of the runners up and some of the special mentions. And I just want to note, we do have one jury member that wasn't able to cast her votes today. So if the votes change from today, don't you worry. We know that it's a kudos to everybody being a participant in here, but any changes we'll announce on Monday. So no stress at all. So as of today, 1920. Wait, sorry, it's 8 o'clock. I'm based in London, so it's 20:04 hours British Standard Time, and it is 9 p.m. Berlin time. If I could just have everybody on the Zoom start to do the virtual applause here, please. Get your little emojis up. And without further ado, some special mentions, honorable mentions have included Little Island, The Conductor's Philosophy, SoundCloud, and Deep Tones. We also had a joint runner-up tied for second. And by the way, the votes are based off point systems between 1 and 5 and a couple different categories. So of the highest votes, but I just genuinely want to say, not cliche, not making this up. Everyone was so close. So we love all of you equally the same. And the runners up in second place include A Block and Digital Garden. And so if we are able to please have a big virtual round of applause for our Patchathon, second annual Patchathon 2021. We had a joint kind of first place. Again, it's not a competition. We've got a exploratory Patchathon is what we like to call it, but the joint collaborative efforts amongst the jury were very unanimous in 2 entries. And the first one I'm going to name, this is no particular order, is Parallel Metaverses. So thank you, Laura Lucas, Francesco Corvi, aka Nesso, Ivan Abreu, and CNDSD, or Mazatin Cortez. Well done, guys. And in neck and neck with them in the same amount of votes is, drum roll, The When, Where, and How by Maui Kiss. So Louis Louise K and Ted Palace. We know Ted had to duck out early, but really well done. Some of the comments we've had from the judges were they really loved the 3-dimensional world that it was built on, sneaky sci-fi layers and hypnotic audio. Made me want to jump in the spaceship and get up there and zip around with the creators. Other comments for When, Where, How included great to see things come together. We know a lot of work went into this, and it's an excellent piece of music, and the spatial relations of the visual worlds are somewhat less strong and comprehensively designed, but the 3D models are layering in those textures. And with Parallel Metaverses, some of the comments from the judges included intriguing visuals, great that you're using the PatchXR tools, a true steampunk synth explosion, and loved the real-time coding. So without further ado, I am going to hand back to Peter, back in the Berlin studios. And again, congratulations to all of you. We loved all those pieces. And we will see you back out in Patch. Congratulations. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Mookie, and thanks to all the Patchathoniers. Thanks to our tremendous developer team and all that many hours that they put in this week working on code and documentation and supporting our team. And a big thanks to Amaze Festival. We've come to the end of the talk programming for this year's edition. So happy birthday, happy 10th birthday to Amaze. And yeah, hope to see you again. And lastly, before we go on, now we head out to Cape Canaveral to the spaceship to go into low Earth orbit. No, now we probably go get a beer, but I just want to welcome Edo, Mello, the co-founders of Patch, and thanks so much for putting this together and making such an amazing tool for all of us to use. I'm just looking at you, so I'm giving you
yeah, so
kick him off the stage.
First of all, thanks a lot for the inspiring works. It's incredible to see what you have done in this short amount of time. It really gives us a kick of inspiration to keep doing this project and see how, yeah, you're pushing the boundaries on what media and music is going to be and is today. So cheers to you. Thanks.
My colleague and co-host and co-founder of Patch.
Yep, I just have to repeat what my co-founder just said. bravo to all of you. Thanks for Amaze Festival to hosting our second Patchathon, and we're really hoping to do the next one at Amaze, or at least we'll be here next year, hopefully. So thanks, Thorsten, thanks everybody, thanks the team, and thanks so much our developer team who's done an incredible work, because basically this has been a Patchathon for the whole team, PatchXR team as well. And we learn so much each time we do this event. So yeah, congrats to everybody. That was amazing.
Oh yeah, and don't go away. Stick around for DJ Storno playing some fast, hard, energetic chip music and electro and stuff, electropunk. Yeah. So don't go away. Let's listen. Ciao. Bye.